Story 1. Betrayed by her involvement with her cousin-in-law, I wasn't about to pretend everything was okay. Fast forward 12 years, I'm now happily married with 3 children and no regrets. Back then, during the tumultuous period, my ex's controlling behavior became apparent. Demanding intricate details of my day and preemptive schedules was her norm, justifying it as a response to past relationship insecurities. Despite my unwavering loyalty, her distrustful conduct felt out of place for someone I was planning to marry. Now, here's where things get interesting. After my ex asked for my busy schedule to coordinate plans, I noticed her texting someone. Given my flexible work hours, which allowed me to take time off when I accumulated extra hours, I decided to plan something special for her ahead of our anniversary. A close friend, who still finds it amusing to this day, used to work with her. He often teases her about this incident. I messaged him, pretending to plan an early surprise for her. They both worked at the same fabrication facility. He was a fabricator while she managed shipping. He kindly shared her schedule with me, revealing a significant discrepancy. Unbeknownst to me, she was opting out of overtime and working specific hours, 12-hour shifts from Monday to Friday, except for a half-day on Wednesdays. Curiously, it was on Wednesdays, around the time she became excessively controlling, that she started taking time off. Conveniently, I had accumulated ample leisure days, so taking a Wednesday off posed no issue for me. When the fateful Wednesday arrived, I dressed for work, expecting her to leave too. Our apartment complex had 2 exits onto the same road, visible from a shopping center. I parked inconspicuously at the back, waiting for the unfolding scene. About an hour later, my attention was drawn to a distinct red Mustang sporting a recognizable decal on its rear window. It belonged to her cousin-in-law. In anticipation, I had taken precautions by positioning an old laptop in our office area, which commanded views of the living room, bedroom door, bathroom, and even the kitchen. I'd configured it for remote access and set up motion alerts for the webcam. Despite granting her the benefit of doubt, I considered the possibility that he was dropping something off or aiding her, given the occasional assistance her family provided. Just as expected, a message notification prompted me to remotely access the laptop. He strolled in nonchalantly through the door, and without missing a beat, she undid his shirt and their passionate kissing ensued. Acting swiftly, I generated a URL for a live stream of the scene. Although both of them were part of our family and friend group chats, they seemed conveniently engrossed and chose to neglect their phones. Astonishingly, they didn't delay, opting for an amorous encounter right there on the couch instead of retreating to the bedroom. Capitalizing on the moment, I shared the live stream link with both our friend group chat and our family group chat. Within minutes, my phone started ringing incessantly, with calls pouring in from friends and family alike. There was no way to undo this revelation. Despite the bombardment of notifications, she deliberately ignored her phone. Only after the 4th or 5th persistent call did they finally take a pause in their escapade. To provide context, the state I resided in permitted recording of personal property regardless of occupancy. Solely on the lease, she couldn't be a co-tenant due to poor credit. She answered a call from her cousin's mother, the same cousin she was involved with. Speakerphone engaged. I can't make this up. His mother's opening words were a direct demand to cease her involvement with her son. Instantly, tension gripped them both. Her speech faltered as she scrambled to respond with, "What are you talking about?" The mother proceeded to reveal that I had sent a live feed of their actions to her family. Reacting hastily, she seized every available cushion, hastily covering herself. The cousin, attempting to dress, stumbled and collided with my coffee table, leaving an indentation as a result. By this point, I had positioned myself near the front of our apartment complex, anticipating the cousin's exit. Upon his emergence, he halted in his tracks, breaking into tears and offering earnest apologies. I'll admit, my subsequent actions weren't my finest, and I could have faced legal repercussions if not for his trespassing on private property. Let's just say I spent 6 weeks with a cast, while he remained conspicuously absent from family photos for months. I entered the apartment to find her fully dressed and overwhelmed with inconsolable tears. Though tempted to inquire about the marks on her face, I refrained, realizing it wasn't pertinent. I granted her a single hour to gather her belongings. Nearly everything in the apartment belonged to me, with the exception of her clothes, minimal makeup, and a handful of kitchen utensils. Unfortunately, her mother, filled with embarrassment, declined to offer her a place to stay. Similar reactions came from her brothers, while the cousin's mother ousted her own son. Swiftly, word spread through our town, rendering her practically untouchable. Story 2. I find myself tangled in a rather distressing situation at the moment. My relationship with my girlfriend, which had spanned over a year and been on a positive trajectory, took an unexpected turn. Discovering that she has been involved with none other than my younger brother as her cheating partner has left me utterly shocked. A bit of background might help you understand the dynamics. My brother and I have had a complex relationship since childhood. During our younger years, we were quite close, sharing typical sibling experiences like sharing secrets, indulging in video games, and having our fair share of sibling squabbles. However, as time passed, I began to notice that my brother had a knack for pushing boundaries and adopting a rather nonchalant attitude towards life. This trait was evident not only in our sibling interactions, but also in his approach to relationships, which appeared to be far more casual compared to my own. Let's flashback to how my girlfriend and I initially connected. Our paths crossed in college, and an instant connection sparked between us. Our personalities meshed seamlessly, leading us to spend increasing amounts of time together. As our bond deepened, I introduced her to my family, including my brother. Initially, things seemed harmonious, but in hindsight, there may have been some underlying tension. Navigating through the typical highs and lows of any relationship, my girlfriend and I managed to resolve our conflicts. This is why discovering her involvement with my brother blindsided me completely. This affair had apparently been ongoing for several weeks, and the shock was overwhelming. Compounding the distress, my brother's lack of remorse stings. He's taken to making crass jokes about the situation and even went so far as to send me pictures of himself and my girlfriend in bed together. It's as if he's deriving pleasure from my suffering, and comprehending this baffles me. After careful consideration, I've chosen to sever ties with both my brother and girlfriend, revealing their actions to our families. I've informed my parents, and their disappointment is evident. I've explained my decision to cut off all contact with my girlfriend, but in the case of my brother, it will prove challenging due to the inevitability of encountering him at family gatherings. In a nutshell, my girlfriend cheated with my younger brother, who was making light of the situation and even sent me photographic evidence. Story 3. My situation involves my wife, who recently confessed to infidelity. What's more, she now desires an open relationship. Our journey spans over 11 years, with 13 months of marriage. Our shared history includes a dog, a home registered under my name, but no children. Early on, my wife disclosed her bisexuality, a revelation I wholeheartedly embraced. For me, honesty and trust form the foundation of a relationship. Throughout our journey, she's wrestled with depression and anxiety, leading to periods of medication and counseling. I've remained steadfast, providing support during her tough moments. In addition, she was diagnosed with ASD a few years back. Several months ago, my wife unexpectedly confided in me about her sexual desires and the pornography she had been consuming. This revelation was unsolicited and caught me off guard. Despite her explicit past request for me to abstain from pornography, I supported her during this phase of self-discovery. Considering her prolonged low libido, I hoped this newfound sexual interest could rejuvenate our intimate connection. Around 2 months ago, my wife divulged that she had engaged in a sexual encounter with a female colleague. This incident occurred after a night of drinking, leading them back to the colleague's apartment. My wife shared this information with me a day or two later. Naturally, I was deeply hurt by her actions. I wished to discuss the situation, not to mention the potential risk of STIs or the potential workplace rumors that might ensue, none of which seemed to cross her mind. The event felt like a breach of trust, although I aimed to navigate through it, questioning whether I had communicated my boundaries clearly enough. We recently returned from a 3-week honeymoon, concluding 2 weeks ago. During this time, I inquired if there were any other undisclosed incidents, to which she affirmed that the encounter with her colleague was the extent of it. Following a 4-day stay at her mother's place while on leave from work, my wife returned home yesterday, initiating a conversation about pursuing an open relationship. I was deeply unsettled by this revelation and inquired about the catalyst behind her sudden interest. Her response was that she felt the need to explore. This explanation left me skeptical, considering the duration of our relationship and the fact that she had never broached this topic before. In secret, I installed a spyware app on her phone, uncovering explicit conversations with a man on Twitter spanning the past 3 days. Their interactions involved sharing sexually graphic images and videos. Confronting her, she initially denied the allegations, but I had undeniable evidence. I requested to review other conversations, a plea she refused. I also implored her to end communication with this individual, a request she turned down, a response that deeply wounded me. It's crucial to mention that I've never strayed or even entertained the thought of infidelity. She expressed her desire for an open relationship, one where she would be free to explore while expecting my monogamy. This arrangement didn't sit well with me. Originally, I presented her with 3 options, both of us engaging in open relationships, both of us choosing monogamy, or parting ways entirely. After deep contemplation about my desires and future, I've come to the realization that an open relationship isn't what I want, and regrettably, I can't place my trust in her any longer. The erosion of trust has even cast doubt on whether my love for her remains intact. In light of this, there appears to be only one viable course of action. I've made the difficult decision to initiate divorce proceedings. My wife's response was that she intends to contest the divorce, citing her enduring love for me. However, the person I see before me today is unrecognizable from the one I married, leaving me with a sense of disconnect and uncertainty. Story 4. I discovered that my wife was cheating on me. Having been married for 2 decades and blessed with a remarkable 16-year-old daughter, I had held my wife in high regard. My daughter's exceptional qualities mirrored the perception I had of my wife until recent events. When tickets for the Taylor Swift concert in California became available, I secured 2 tickets for my wife and daughter, both avid fans. Regrettably, I couldn't join them due to a company retreat that coincided with the concert. I bid them well and returned home afterward. To my astonishment, my daughter informed me that they hadn't attended the concert due to my wife's purported late work schedule, a situation she was uncomfortable letting my daughter face alone. Puzzled by this, I confronted my wife about why she hadn't simply skipped the late shift. Her response was that she had no alternative but to work late. This struck me as odd since she had previously mentioned having the flexibility to choose shifts. Alarmed by these inconsistencies, I verified her claims by contacting her workplace, only to discover that she had not applied for a late shift that day. Fearing the worst, I accessed her location data, which revealed her presence in an unfamiliar building that same night. I requested her to be honest, and through tearful admissions, she revealed that she had been involved with her coworker, engaging in intimate relations with him. The impact on me was devastating, not only due to the infidelity itself, but also the fact that she had canceled a planned mother-daughter trip to pursue this affair. While she maintained that this was the sole instance of cheating, I find it challenging to believe her words given the circumstances. Text messages I came across clearly indicated that the opportunity arose on that specific day. She could have chosen differently, opting to spend time with her daughter, but instead, she chose infidelity. I acknowledge there may have been warning signs I overlooked as well. In light of this, I've resolved not to allow any individual to tarnish my self-worth, my perception of life, love, or the world. I'm taking the initiative to relocate with my child and cultivate a life filled with beauty and joy. I believe I deserve happiness and positivity. I refuse to squander the limited joy and positivity I possess on people who prove to be unworthy. My decision is to proceed with divorce. There seems to be no salvaging this situation. I intend to share all the details with my 16-year-old daughter, ensuring she understands the truth. Before my wife can craft a narrative, I'll consult with a lawyer and have a candid conversation with my daughter. I am determined not to deceive her for the sake of her mother's betrayal.